It began with small things so subtle I almost missed them. A shrug when I reached for her hand. A shoulder turning away just as I leaned in. A quiet "not tonight," said without a hint of emotion. I told myself she was tired. We both worked long hours, exhaustion made sense. But as the days turned into weeks, that same distance stayed. Every attempt to bridge it, a hug, a kiss, a touch, was met with a wall colder than silence. Then one night, I leaned in to kiss her and she said without even looking up, "No touching today." Those 3 words hit me like a blow. Not out of anger, not out of hurt, just indifference. And that, more than anything, broke something inside me. I lay awake beside her, staring at the ceiling while she scrolled through her phone, laughing softly at something, or someone that wasn't me. The woman who once couldn't fall asleep unless I held her now acted as if my presence was an inconvenience. That's when I started noticing everything. The delayed replies. The mysterious girls' nights. The secret smiles when she texted. I wasn't blind. I knew something was off. But instead of confronting her, I fell quiet. I realized something in that silence. Sometimes love isn't about fighting to stay. It's about knowing when to let go. That night, as she rolled over and turned her back to me, I whispered softly, "You'll miss this silence one day." The next morning, she acted as if everything were fine. She hummed while making coffee, said, "Morning," like nothing had happened, completely unaware that I hadn't closed my eyes all night. I watched her move around the kitchen like a stranger pretending to live in my home. When I finally asked, "Do you even care anymore?" she just smirked and said, "You're being dramatic, Mark. I just need space." That word, space, echoed in my chest. It's what people say when their heart's already gone, but they're too afraid to admit it. I didn't argue. I just nodded, took a slow sip of my coffee, and made a quiet promise to myself. If she wanted space, I'd give her all the space she could handle. From that day, I detached. I stopped texting her during the day. I didn't ask where she was going or who she was with. When she came home late, I simply looked up, greeted her politely, and went back to what I was doing. No emotion. No reaction. Nothing. The silence that once came from her side began to haunt her now. She noticed my distance. For someone who loved control, my indifference scared her. 3 days later, she asked, "You've been quiet lately. Is something wrong?" I smiled faintly. "No. Just respecting your space." Her eyes flickered. That simple sentence hit her harder than any argument could have. She realized then that I meant it. By the end of that week, I was a ghost in my own house. I only spoke when necessary. I slept on my side of the bed. I didn't initiate a single touch. She started trying again, small efforts at first. Asking what I wanted for dinner. Complimenting my shirt. Brushing her fingers against mine when passing by. But I gave her nothing. No anger, no warmth. Just the mirror of what she'd given me. And that's when she started to crack. The woman who once said, "No touching," suddenly began looking for excuses to be near me. But by then, something inside me had shifted. I had already crossed that invisible line between love and self-respect. That weekend, she came into the living room wearing the dress she used to wear on our early dates. She hesitated, then said softly, "Hey, want to go out tonight? Just the 2 of us." I looked up from my laptop, studying her face. She looked nervous, almost desperate, trying to bring back something already gone. "No," I said calmly. "I've got plans." "Plans?" she repeated. "With who?" I shrugged. "A friend." That single word hit her like a knife. For a moment she stood frozen, then muttered, "Right? Enjoy your space." The next morning I packed a bag. Not everything, just enough. Enough to make a statement. When she saw the suitcase by the door, her face drained of color. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I'm giving you what you wanted," I said. "Space. Freedom. No touching. No expectations." She stepped forward, panic rising. "Mark, don't do this." I didn't mean. But I cut her off. "Yes, you did. You meant every word. You turned me into a stranger long before I packed this bag. I'm just making it official." I handed her an envelope. Inside was a simple note. "No more us." She didn't speak as I walked out. The sound of the door closing behind me was the most peaceful sound I'd heard in months. For the next 2 days, I didn't look back. I turned off my phone, spent time with friends, drove aimlessly, Listened to music I hadn't touched in years. For the first time in so long I felt free. Then on the third day my phone lit up. Her name again and again, 15 missed calls, then 20, then 30. Finally a message. Please come home. I can't do this without you. The irony made me smile. The same woman who once couldn't bear my touch now couldn't bear my absence. I didn't reply right away. I let her sit in that silence. The same silence she'd given me so easily. When I finally agreed to meet, she broke down the moment she saw me. Mark, I was stupid, she cried. I thought I wanted space, but I just didn't want to feel boring. I never cheated, I swear. I just liked the attention. I looked at her for a long moment. And I believed her. But it didn't matter anymore. The damage wasn't in betrayal. It was in neglect. You didn't have to cheat to lose me, I told her softly. You just had to stop caring. She begged for another chance, but I'd already made peace with walking away. Sometimes love doesn't end with lies. It fades in the quiet. It's been a year since that night. My life feels lighter now. Stronger. Calmer. Every once in a while she still texts. Messages that start with I miss you and end with I was wrong. But I never reply. Because now I understand something I didn't before. Love without warmth is just coexistence. And I'd rather be alone than live as someone's afterthought. She once said, no touching today. And I said, no more us. That was the day she finally cared, just a little too late.